You talk about the accountability. I just think it's great if you would tell them the story about you making your guarantee, and then how all that played out, because it's an interesting part of that story.
Well, it is, and I think, Governor, it gets right to the issue of accountability. When I started my schools 5 years ago, right in the midst of Harlem, I said to our mayor and to the chancellor and to my board that if I don't have a better school than surrounding public schools in 5 years, I was going to fire myself, right? And I said it, and people wrote it down, and they noted the year, and they said, okay, this is a guy who put himself right out there. And then when they left, I got my whole staff together, and I said, but y'all know I'm the last one leaving, all right? All right, so this is real accountability, and here's the rub. It's not like things always work, right? It's not like even in charter school, there's no panacea. Things are going to fail, and then you've got to have a plan to fix it that is not the same plan that failed. Now, this is what drives me crazy. If it's failing, and you come in and you say, look, Geoff, I gotta know, okay, that didn't work. Here's the new plan. And I look and say, okay, let's try that. I'm with you, and I can work with you. If you come in and it didn't work, and I say, what are we going to do? Well, what we did last year. But that didn't work. Well, that's the plan. Take it or leave it, right? So we know who gets hurt in that. And that's the part, when I say that people get mad about charter schools, that's what I'm talking about. It's not like they got all the answers, or even I have all the answers. It's that people are out there trying to figure out how to do this with a different plan than the one that has failed our kids. And those kind of folks, we have to celebrate them when they do well. When they don't do well, we have to say thank you, goodbye. Right? That's okay, but you tried something new, and we're going to move education forward by learning about these experiments, what's working and what's not working.
Talking about what makes great, effective teachers, what have you found in your experience about what is it? Because lots of people say you can see it, kind of you know it when you see it, and teachers can see it. What are the factors that you think really have made you sit up and take notice on that?
So we have, everybody talks about differentiation. The ability to work with kids at different levels in reading. It is one of the most difficult things in the world to do, right? Everybody talks about it, but very few people can actually do it, can actually go in and say, I'm going to actually have not one lesson plan, but 3 lesson plans, because I got kids on 3 different levels, and each one is not going to be sort of a dumbed-down curriculum. It's going to be challenging and engaging. When you stand in front of that classroom as a teacher, which I did, it is a huge challenge because you are locked in there with those young people and you are always on. And so this is what I find. It takes folk who are prepared to say, you know what, Charlene didn't do well because I didn't have the right strategy for her, right? And now I'm trying to figure out what that is. That's the person I want to hire. You say the kids are not doing well because then you admit I need to know something, I need to do something, I need to figure this out. The person who tells me, well, Charlene didn't do well because you know what, she's just not that together, Geoff. You know, she really, we talked to her, and if you really met her, you'd understand she's not, right? That person I don't want, because there's no chance that person is going to say, I need to change my skill level to help this child. And I find great teachers are always growing. They're always looking at other places and other people and saying, wow, I never thought about that. That's a great way to teach American history. Let me try. See, they're improving the science of education, and I think that's what we need. So this issue of, are you still learning? Are you still engaged? And here's the last thing I'll say on this. Great teachers have stamina. You see them 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're engaging kids. You see them 12 o'clock in the afternoon, they're still on. You see them 3 o'clock, they're still going at it. They're the ones hanging around 4:30 still. That kind of stamina. And to be able to do that over years, see, some people, they're going to do that for a year or two. They're like, I'm getting out of this profession. This thing ain't working, right? Because this is really hard. Because it is hard work. Anybody who's taught it, they know what I'm talking about. You start thinking, oh, my God, it is only 11:30, right? And so, yes, but that's real, right? So to be able to do that year in and year out takes special kind of people. And these are great teachers. When you see them, when I say you see them, you see a work of art, I mean, you see these people and you're like, oh, my goodness, look at that. And here's what we need to do. a lot of that can be learned. It can be learned. And part of what we have to do is liberate our system so our teachers can actually see what it looks like and what it feels like to be at that level of professionalism. And then we have to reward them, right? Can I just give you one reason this whole merit pay thing is crazy?
About merit pay next, so roll right into it.
The governor's never,
I love this guy.
The governor's never going to invite me to come and be with him again, right? So, but teachers will get this. Teachers will understand what I'm saying. We want our best teachers with our most distressed students, right? The ones who, but here's the deal in education. You say, how'd your kids do? Well, 49% of them pass. Oh, not a good teacher. Well, no, wait. What if only 23% of those kids started on grade level when you got them? Then if you went from 23 to 49, you are like a superstar. I'm going to look and say, let me get that teacher in because now, the system doesn't acknowledge it or reward it. So if I'm a great teacher and I know, look, if I go in the most challenging parts and I improve these kids, I get no credit because they're going to look at the teacher that got 90%, but they started with 90%, right? So you know what I'm saying? So if you think you're a great teacher, the only way I'm going to get acknowledged is if I'm with the best kids, because then everybody thinks I'm great. But if I'm with the really kids who are struggling, no one thinks I'm great, and you don't get rewarded for that, then you start driving great teachers to the most advanced. They're the ones who teach the most advanced classes, and that's the opposite of the way our profession ought to work. We ought to get these superstars, put them right in there where the kids are at 16%. Say, give me those kids from 16 to 30, and you're a great teacher because no one is getting that kind of added on, and then you get them the next year from 30 to 50, and you start building this thing up. We can't do that when everybody gets paid the same thing, and we don't evaluate teachers. So I can't tell that great teacher was great because all I can look at is the terminal report card and say, well, the teacher only got 49% of her kids on grade level. So there's a challenge. If we liberated our teachers, the great teachers would, look, a great teacher would be like, look, I can only do about 4 points if I got those kids at 90. I get those kids who's at 23, I can get like 30 points. I'll get so famous by doing that you'll let teachers go where the problems are, and we'll begin to really build this science, I think, of how we educate kids, recognizing that where a kid starts from and where they end up at is something that you should be able to measure, and teachers can be rewarded for doing those kind of great things.
And I just experienced in the last 3 weeks one of the things that Geoff said. You know, when there are great teachers, they are not only full of energy, but they're full of commitment to those kids. Those kids are their lives, you know, and I'll tell you how I experienced that recently. Came home one night, and you know, there was a stack of mail sitting on the island. And so I start going through it. And you know, in this age of the internet, like, you know, and you'll get out of here and you can realize it if you care to, you find my home address in like, you know, 45 seconds, you know, on the internet. And so I get lots of people now who write me at home. I am not inviting you to do that. But I get lots of people, right? Mayor Padu, who, yeah, look, she's going, oh God, no, right? But it happens. And so I'm going through stuff, and some stuff you could just tell right in the beginning, it's kind of like work related, and so I just take that envelope and I put it in my briefcase to bring down to the office the next day. But this one, I didn't recognize the return name on the address, but it looked like it was the handwriting of an elderly person. And I don't know what it was that made me open it, but I opened it. And I started reading it. And the woman now lived in Georgia. It was one of the southern states. So it lives in Georgia. And she's right, dear Mr. Christie, I'm not sure if this is the same person, but I think it is. She said, I remember a little boy who walked into my class, my kindergarten class at 5 years old. And he was a little bit tall, a little stocky. Did she say pudgy? Thank you, honey. So glad to have the First Lady here. Dark hair. He came into my classroom, And I knew right away that he was special. And I remember the way he would lead our class in the flag salute. I remembered how he liked to read out loud to the other children. And I remember that he used to help me after school to clean up afterwards. And said, I don't know if this is the same Chris Christie that I had in my kindergarten class at the Squiretown School in 1967. But if it is, and you really are the governor of New Jersey, I just want to tell you, I was proud of you then, and I'm proud of you now.